Welcome to another episode of Casting Starcraft 2 with Daylac. Today bringing you a Masters level game from the EU realm, and without further ado, let's dive into this. Up in the red here on the top side of Akilon Wastes, we have the Zerg player ImperialFist, three-time Master League player from the EU realm. And his opponent in blue on the bottom side is aSMovieMaker, a 10 times Masters level Terran who actually recently competed in Clan HSDL's Invitational Tournament for 2013, the player from Italy here. But unfortunately he lost in the semi-finals. Unfortunate for him there. And the map of choice today is actually Akilon Wastes, a new map introduced in Heart of the Swarm, but originally ported over to Wings of Liberty for the first season of 2013. Used to actually have 4 Xel'Naga towers on here, with 2 extra ones being here and here, but these were removed as they helped to provide far too much map control in this map. However, the 2 remaining Xel'Naga watchtowers here, giving coverage of the side attack paths up here for both players, while making the engagements in the middle a little bit more interesting and fun. And already now we can see ImperialFist's scouting overlord there heading out towards his opponent's base, using actually one of the new models for being a level 20 Zerg, I think this one is, or is it 25? But this is the Mutant Overlord skin. Very cool, very interesting. And we are actually seeing a typical fast expand build here from ImperialFist with hatch before pool. And we'll expect to see that pool going down shortly. Well, aSMovieMaker is just starting to form his wall in now, finishing it off there with that last supply depot to try and deny as much scouting information as possible. Now I'd like to see for this matchup, certainly for the Terran player against the Zerg, some kind of Banshee Hellion early mix, as that could be quite a strong opening, or heck even an early Reaper opening. However, the lack of gas there is going to hamper that slightly. And as far as obviously the Zerg ImperialFist goes for this map, there's all sorts he can do depending on what his opponent goes. Obviously in the early game a little bit of that Ling action. It wouldn't surprise me if I saw a little bit of Baneling action as well with Mutalisks, but I doubt very much that we'll see any of the new Zerg units in terms of certainly at least the Viper, though Swarm Host may find some usage on this map if he wants to set up any kind of contain or to hold these choke points here in the middle of the map. Both players now having put down expansions. aSMovieMaker, of course, being slightly slower than his Zerg counterpart there. And the bunker there going down for defense against an early Ling rush if possible. And it does look like that Overlord is going to go down, supply blocking ImperialFist by quite a margin there, 25 over 20. That is going to hurt, but he does have another one on the way, which should help even things up, and in fact another one following on after that. And already Ling speed being researched here for ImperialFist. It looks like he wants to go for a very early Ling attack here to see if he can cause some damage, and aSMovieMaker actually playing very aggressive and greedy here by throwing down a 3rd command center already at only 5 minutes into the game without having many units to back this up, only just now starting his factory. No additional barracks here, relying purely on the units that he's already got at this point. Very greedy building here, and we'll have to see if that pays off for him. And already now 24 Lings on the way from ImperialFist. That could prove to be quite a deadly run-by attack, especially with the lack of units from aSMovieMaker here. And this will actually give ImperialFist a good opportunity to expand actually behind this and prepare to move into potentially a 3rd and 4th base and be greedy in his own right. Of course, Zerg wanting to take bases early, get that creep spread going on, and try and gain control of as much of the map as possible. But that is actually quite a savage Ling attack here. 24 Lings going towards his opponent's base. aSMovieMaker having no idea that this is about to hit him. He does now, he sees it coming, the Marine has caught that. However, it's too late, he gets the surround on the bunker. aSMovieMaker can't even pull SCVs to repair that. That's 4 Marines instantly dead there. The 5th Marine going down now, and it's just going to be a case of how many SCVs will this attack kill. aSMovieMaker having some Hellions here on the high ground that will do some damage, but this is already proving to be quite a vicious attack. 4 workers killed by ImperialFist. He's going to nail that supply depot. He's preventing that command center from landing, and if he can clean up the rest of those workers on the low ground for the cost of the links that he's lost here, that would have been a very efficient attack. aSMovieMaker though, moving out now with his Hellions, trying to clean up the remainder of those links, but they will snipe that last SCV there. Just absolutely vicious attack there, cleaning up that opening defense from aSMovieMaker, who is actually now going to push out with this little force of Hellions here. I quite like this, responding to the aggression from the Zerg with aggression in his own right. If he can get any of his opponent's workers as well, maybe get a bit of a more even trade going on, and perhaps even get some scouting information from inside his opponent's main, because at the moment aSMovieMaker doesn't really have too much of an idea of what his opponent's doing. He is now aware, of course, of this third, but has no idea of the potential tech choices that his opponent might want to go down. Though it is actually looking, from what we can see here, that ImperialFist is looking to perhaps maybe go Roach here against his opponent in the at least early in the early game, and those Hellions being picked off in short order, only managing to roast a few lings there. In fact, no workers killed, very little damage done by that attack, and with no scouting information, I'm not entirely sure that that was worth it really from aSMovieMaker's point of view. That could have perhaps been used to far greater effect, though unfortunately, as it is, he will not have the opportunity to find out. Throwing down though a lot of barracks now, looking to get his production up quickly and use up some of those minerals he's got banked, but still not moved out this 3rd command center yet. Keeping it safe in the base for now before he's perhaps waiting to expand a little bit more safely. And we do actually see a Widow Mine. Against Zergling attacks, those Widow Mines could actually, any more Widow Mines could certainly prove to be very effective, as they do a lot of splash damage to the low HP units. In fact, a couple of well-placed Widow Mines is more than capable of easily taking out upwards of 24 Zerglings in literally 1 or 2 volleys, being able to essentially one-hit them even with the splash damage. ImperialFist actually being proactive in stopping expansions now by having his overlords at the 3rd and 4th for aSMovieMaker, dropping that creep there. I am liking this decision, and we are actually seeing a little bit of a build-up of force here at the front from ImperialFist, still remaxing mostly on Ling. So the Baneling Nest, of course, is now available, and we're already seeing upgrades coming from both sides. Only tier 1 upgrades at the moment for ImperialFist. Terran already working on Infantry 2 and some Medivacs as well. Potentials for some nice drop play on the Akilon wastes here, with the side areas relatively clear actually for Medivacs to run down. Currently ImperialFist maintaining the majority of the map control though, and moving out now with this large force of Lings here, looking to perhaps do some more damage to his opponent. But will they strike that 3rd or that 4th? It looks like they're going to go for the Marines at the 4th location first. They won't save that Overlord in time though, more's the pity. aSMovieMaker actually going to have to wait here for his Marines to come and clear up that Overlord and wait for that creep to finish being spread. I like that choice by ImperialFist, as it slows down his opponent's economy quite importantly, though the loss of another Overlord has set him back somewhat on supply, and aSMovieMaker is going to be able to use this as an opportunity to start catching up on bases. But it does look like ImperialFist here getting ready to spread out towards a 4th base. Zerg economy, very important here, that he wants to stay at least 1 base ahead of his opponent at all times, make use of that Zerg potential for rapid remaxing and really strong economy, and ending up with a good bank in the event of a large fight, so that he can very quickly remax effectively. It's not unusual actually to see Zerg take the majority of bases on any one map, and try and at least prevent them from their opponent, and burrowed Zerglings as well can be quite effective at that. And we're also seeing some infestors here, which is a good choice against Terran, especially if they are looking to do a more bio style. And with this number of barracks that aSMovieMaker currently has on the field, it does look like he's going to be investing heavily into the more bio style play. We're actually seeing a little engagement here, which is going to be mopped up in short order, though the Medivac does actually get the pickup here and may be able to get off some additional drop harass, maybe use it as an opportunity to scout. He has now of course seen the Roach Warren there, and already has extra Marauders anyway, which should be able to deal with those. But the question is will he be able to catch this Ultralisk Cavern? But he does see two Ultras have already popped out. It's looking here like ImperialFist is actually wanting to go an Ultralisk Infestor style gameplay, which can actually be ridiculously strong against bio. The Infestors of course having that fungal growth, which can be used to root the bio units in place, and then of course the Ultralisks being able to utilize their impressive splash damage to very quickly clean up the bio forces of Terran. It'll be interesting to see how aSMovieMaker actually responds to this. I'd like to see him get a little bit more mech on the field, but he seems to be focusing primarily on just pumping more and more bio, despite having seen those Ultralisks. Of course, a fully upgraded Ultralisk versus a fully upgraded Marauder, it still takes approximately 25 shots from a Marauder to kill an Ultralisk, and in that time, if your units are rooted in place by a fungal growth, they're going to be absolutely devastated by the sheer weight of Ultralisk numbers. Widow Mines though here guarding the third base. Will they get any extra kills will remain to be seen, though they may prove to have some usage against the Zerglings. They do actually get revealed by Infestor fungal growths, and will probably not be as effective against the Ultralisk, so they may help to clean up some of the Banelings and Zerglings that are in this composition here. aSMovieMaker actually looking fairly hemmed in here at the moment, only still on 3 bases. His opponent now on 4, creep spread coming up to about the halfway point on the map, giving the Zerg player a lot of potential information here about the movement of his opponent's units. And of course ImperialFist is still holding on to both the 2 remaining Zelnaga watchtowers on this map, and will easily be able to see any Bioforce pushouts before they occur, and even got these strategic overlords in place to scout for any potential incoming drops. And we are already seeing weapons 3 upgrades now for Terran, and it looks like aSMovieMaker here gearing up to actually do some drop play, sending these Medivacs up the side, but they have just gone into range of the Zelnaga watchtower, so ImperialFist should be more than aware that this drop is on the way and should be able to respond to that with no problems at all. Though Terran looking to perhaps expand off the back of this, throwing down another command center, obviously wanting to try and keep up with the Zerg economy. Got a base here though that's not mining yet, needs to get some SCVs on there, pull some from some of his bases perhaps. How many workers is he actually on at the moment? Currently on 65 SCVs to 73 drones. That's actually not a bad number at this time, especially with both forces being fairly equal overall. Of course, the important thing for Zerg is that they are able to remax with devastating efficiency, especially against a more bio-style composition, especially as well with strong lava injects. And it looks like we're going to see a bit of an engagement here. The Fungals go out, catching a nice chunk of the Terran army there, but losing a couple of Infestors. Bit of an expensive loss for not much damage overall here. Seeing a lot of posturing at the moment from both armies moving around the map. Looking like neither of them is quite ready to engage yet, but both of them approaching maxed out. aSMovieMaker now 200 over 200 supply. ImperialFist actually stuck here at 192 over 192 without having the extra overlords in place yet, but already got a few extra Ultralisks and Lings on the way, and those upgrades level 3 as well. So expecting to see a major engagement soon here. Question of course will be which side will have the better positioning, and how effective will the Infestors be against a Terran army, because if they can get them rooted in place then they will do a lot of damage. Seeing now the Zerg moving out across the map. This is actually a bad spot here for Terran to be engaging in, not having quite the concave that they want. A few Zerglings here getting some information about units, and it looks like the main Zerg force is going to back away at this time. Again, a lot of posturing going on here. Both players are a little bit unsure, I think, about whether or not they want to engage. But I may have to eat my words there, as, again, no, backing off once more. It's a lot of scans being thrown down here from aSMovieMaker, trying to determine where his opponent's army is at all times. And, of course, the overseers in the army there to scout for those widow mines. And this is actually quite clever. Perhaps using changelings here to be able to see if they can pick up any of those widow mine hits. But it looks like we're finally going to see Terran moving out, being a little bit proactive here. One fungal goes off, 2, 3, 4 fungals. Terran army is now locked in place, and these Ultralisks are going to make mincemeat of them. Against that more bio-heavy composition, that splash damage is simply ridiculous. And the Terran army has just been brutalized. Zerg, their losses already being remaxed out, already at 170 supply over Terran's 120. This could actually be a potential game-ending moment here, depending on how ImperialFist plays this out. But he is going to shut down the potential expansion opportunities here of aSMovieMaker, try and deny him some of that extra economy. In fact, if he can cripple the Terran player's economy here, this could be brutal, because Terran is only on really 2 mining bases, his main and his natural being essentially, by this point, almost mined out. Lefting defensively there, picking up some extra production structures. And at this point, Terran just desperately trying to remax 130, now 140 over 200, but his opponent's on 190. ImperialFist could actually go in with this army and end this game here, I think. Adding on the extra banelings now. We're against that biocomposition, but it's looking on very shaky ground here for aSMovieMaker, though he has managed to expand to a base here in the interim time. But is Zerg aware of it yet? It looks, in fact, like ImperialFist does know that that base is there, and after cleaning up this drop will probably go down and smash that base to smithereens, losing a base in the process though. I'm actually quite liking this tactic by aSMovieMaker. He's having difficulty here in these straight up engagements, but using the upgraded Marauders to essentially try and base snipe, knowing his opponent has no air units to shoot down those medivacs, is actually a pretty clever idea. And if he can pick up some, do some damage to the Zerg player's economy, then all the better for him. But if I was in ImperialFist shoes right now, I'd be just wanting to go straight across the map and just wreck that Terran base now before he can remax too well. And there goes the one of the few Terran mining expansions right there. Both players once again back to even on supply. And looks like aSMovieMaker here actually wanting to push out with a fairly substantial force again, try and do some extra damage, perhaps re-secure this 5th base for his income. Zerg creep spread though, going to make that a little bit difficult, going to have to wait for that creep to recede slightly. Most of the action actually taking place over on this left hand side of the map. There's 2 uncontested expansions up here that have still yet to be gone for, but the one burrowed Zergling here preventing aSMovieMaker from retaking that expansion. Sniping an overlord there, and it looks like we're going to see another big engagement, but this time the infestors aren't there to lock down this Terran bioforce, and they're going to absolutely rip apart the forces of the Zerg there, sustaining some fairly heavy losses in their own right, and Zerg already remaxing back up to 200. Their economy right now is just that strong. The Terran force is going to have to be careful now though, under strength in comparison to his opponent. As he comes up that ramp, he may well get caught up here, and Queen's now actually travelling with these Ultralisks to provide transfuse support to keep them alive against the sheer force of Marauders now that aSMovieMaker is using. Looks like we're going to see another base snipe here as well, picking up another one of the Zerg bases, and once again reducing that economy even further. But the Ultralisks are coming in from one side, and he uses this as an opportunity to get some flank on here with Ultralisks coming in from the rear. This Terran bioforce may well be completely annihilated here, but no, aSMovieMaker does get the pickup. Will he be able to get away? He does indeed, almost losing those medivacs, but a swift afterburn timing is lets him get away almost scot-free there, saving a nice chunk of army. And again, both players here very equal on supply. It's ridiculous how close this game has become at this point. given how much in the lead it seemed ImperialFist was earlier on. But these base snipes by Terran are really taking their toll somewhat on the Zerg economy. But the Zerg does have a pretty substantial bank here, which is going to make life a lot easier for him in the long run. Terran now, once again, remaxing, both these armies staying on pretty even footing, and secured this base finally, floating over an extra command center. Of course, at this point now, Terran pretty much restricted to going bio only. It's very difficult for Terran to tech switch this late into the game, but given the Zerg lack of anti-air units, I would love to see some Banshee play, especially against that heavy Ultralisk composition that ImperialFist is going for. Some Banshees mixed into this force, especially with the cloak, could prove to be very effective at helping to pick off those Ultralisks and even pick off those Queens, providing the transfuses there. Though whether or not Zerg would respond to that in a timely fashion with Hydralisks of their own is unknowable. But it looks like Terran is actually going to move up here. aSMovieMaker looking to snipe another one of ImperialFist's bases. He spots the creep. Will he actually go for it? He does. He's planting his Widow Mines to save himself from that right flank, and is going to once again do some devastating damage here to Zerg economy, picking off all of those drones with absolutely no problem. In fact, look at that, 56 to 43 workers killed. Unbelievable how much damage each player here is doing to his opponent's economy. Constant scans now going off, looking to pick up some of those infestors. Nice fungal there, but ImperialFist forced to back off. Those Marauders simply doing too much damage to the Ultralisks at the front there on their own. It's actually getting to be fairly close here. I'm not even certain which player looks like they're going to win. The supply is so equal, but that looks like a bad engagement here for aSMovieMaker. I may have spoken too soon. The fungals are going down. The Ultralisk are getting in close. Oh, those Terran bio units being absolutely torn apart here by those Kaiser Blades on those Ultralisks. aSMovieMaker now to 120 supply. ImperialFist still at 150, remaxing very rapidly here with that huge bank. Losing a few Ultralisks here and actually being forced to back away as he waits for his new forces to pop out. But in any second now, those forces are going to arrive on the battlefield, and this is probably going to spell death for the Terran army, especially on a flank of this sort of nature. But no, it looks like ImperialFist is actually going to let him take that base, but will he actually get him now? Ooh! Once again, another good pickup here by aSMovieMaker, saving the remainder of his forces here and backing away. Some absolutely beautiful base sniping here, but it looks like ImperialFist is just going to go all out here, try and cripple those last Terran mining bases if at all possible. That's a big force of Zerglings, but no, he is actually turning around and retreating back to the safety of his own creep. ImperialFist, though, once again maxed out, on aSMovieMaker lagging behind here at 156 supply. In fact, at this point in time, I fully believe that ImperialFist could quite happily just stroll across the map with this force and take his opponent's bases off him by force. But it looks like we're going to see an engagement here at this Zerg base that's just being set up. The Marauders getting ready to come in. More Changelings being dropped here, trying to scout the position of that Terran army. It looks like they're not going to see them. But here comes the engagement now. Widowmine getting ready, and the forces are going in there, trying to get the surround there with some Zerglings, but backing out. Well, there go the Ultralisks onto the front line. That is a huge fungal. All those units there are going to go down for aSMovieMaker, and ImperialFist is going to pretty much win that engage, coming off with a slightly better trade, I think, there. But a lot of posturing once again going on for these armies. Then both of them aren't really quite certain whether or not they want to engage. But with the creep spread across the map now and the lack of economy for the Terran player, aSMovieMaker, this is starting to look more and more dangerous. Having almost nothing in the bank and only being essentially on one mining base. Whereas his opponent ImperialFist here still got one mining base here and another one just having been set up here. So aSMovieMaker now in a little bit of a tricky position, but once again remaxing very effectively and staying roughly equal with his opponent in terms of supply. I'm just waiting to see the final engagement between these guys. Huge force of Marauders here for aSMovieMaker to counter that. Huge force of Ultralisks, but the the fungal growths from the Infestors just able to lock them in place so effectively so that they can't kite back. And in the interim time, we do actually see a force of Zerglings here causing absolute havoc in aSMovieMaker's last remaining mining base, picking up the majority of those workers there. In fact, it looks now like aSMovieMaker only on 26 SCVs at this point. He is in so much trouble right now in terms of economy. ImperialFist getting ready to move out around the map, perhaps potentially going to look to try and deny that expansion up on the northern side here. Or will he try and engage his opponent's main force here, throwing away a sacrificial Ultralisk to tank all of the Widow Mine shots there. And it looks like we're going to see the beginnings of an engage here. Scan goes down, the Ultralisk is going in. I actually quite like this choice by ImperialFist. He could force this here and now, but that number of Marauders is simply too high at this point in time. This is just, those Ultralisks are just being absolutely shredded under the sheer weight of that Terran grenade firepower. And in the meantime, aSMovieMaker being proactive here, destroying bases, backstabbing ImperialFist there, and absolutely trying to cripple his economy in return. But that is a couple of huge fungals. The Ultralisk is going to be able to make mincemeat of this force now. Despite the sheer weight of all the Marauder fire, they are all going to be taken out here. That's 176 supplied to 103. ImperialFist here, having the stronger economy at this point, still got a bigger force, could probably just roll all over his Terran opponent now, but keeps on backing out. I'm actually shocked by this. It looks like he's just really afraid of these Marauders at this point in time. But one more decisive engagement and ImperialFist should be able to absolutely take this, no problem at all. His opponent's economy is completely in the tank right now, almost no mining units, only one mining base here and one base being manned by mules here. This is essentially over for aSMovieMaker, but ImperialFist here just too afraid of that sheer number of Marauders that his opponent seems to have every single time they're engaging. Changelings now going out, trying to get some extra scouting information, being picked up somewhat there by the Widow Mine shots. And it looks like this could be it now. Terran forces and all in a decent position. But again, ImperialFist forced to back away by those Marauders, not wanting to full-on engage, uncertain, I think, more than anything else, of just maybe how many Widow Mines are protecting the Terran bases here. And again, we see another drop by aSMovieMaker, potentially being able to get another base snipe here. And in fact, the entire Zerg force being recalled for 5 Marines. aSMovieMaker simply making the most of the fact his opponent has next to no anti-air here and just constantly dropping and sniping these bases over and over again. The disruption to the Zerg economy has been huge, but ImperialFist still on 200 over 200 in comparison to the 142 of his opponent here. Terran just simply managing to hold on at this point in a very impressive level of gameplay, actually, being able to keep his opponent simply constantly on the move and push back. But depending on how this next engagement goes down, it could well be game over. That's still an impressive force for aSMovieMaker, especially against this number of Ultralisks. Those Marauders being able to make short work of them no problem, and being able to take quite a large number of the fungal growths here. But the engagement is going to go down. No fungals landed here, so the Ultralisks are going to have to chase. And once again, ImperialFist forced to back away under the weight of that fire. ImperialFist actually really needing to be able to land those fungals now against this force. Without the fungal growths, simply unable to get the Ultralisks into range to do the damage. Stimmed Marauders being able to move back more than quick enough to take on his opponent's forces. It looks like he's going to try and pick up those spine crawlers. The Ultralisk going to go in again. trying to deal damage to one another, but giving aSMovieMaker just so much time here to keep on resupplying. And again, we see another huge force going off here to snipe again another Zerg base, doing more and more damage to that Zerg economy. ImperialFist again pulling his entire army away to deal with a handful of Marauders and Marines. aSMovieMaker actually doing a very, very good job of keeping his opponent off balance. And as the force moves over to clear that one up, we see a force again move in down here to snipe another base. But that could actually be lethal here, not having his full army together in one position as this Zerg army comes down on his head, looking perhaps to pick up a base of his own. ImperialFist again remaxing back up to full very quickly, but these Marines just looking for blood here, going for that Zerg mining base, again shutting it down. If he can take that one out as well, Zerg will also pretty much only be on one mining base, and he does. But it looks like we're finally going to see the game-ending engagement of this match here. Yep, there we go. The Ultralisks now going in. They're engaging on those few remaining Marauders. The Fungals go down. That's actually a huge set of Fungals here. And these Ultras should be able to clean up no problem. And this looks like it could be it for aSMovieMaker. His supply is simply tanking right now. Down to 96. The Zerg still on 140 here. No problem at all. And this looks like it could be a game over situation. aSMovieMaker having almost no income now. And his bases are going to be picked up by the number of Ultralisks here. Lifting that one to try and extend its life for as long as possible. Queen's now transfusing those Ultras. But again, backing out, just simply unwilling to commit his forces here and go for that final victory. Almost makes me feel like ImperialFist is simply toying with aSMovieMaker now, wandering around the map, just wanting to clean everything up. But we do actually see over here SUVs being absolutely mauled by a Ling run by here. And potentially another command center rendered inoperable. But that force will actually be cleaned up, leaving it only on 50 HP. If he's not careful, that will actually burn down. Will he actually manage to get some repairs going on that in time? And it looks like he will just manage to save that, down on 20 HP. But the next mining base of aSMovieMaker is about to come under attack from this Zerg horde here. All of those SCVs going to die. Absolutely horrific there for aSMovieMaker. His economy now going to have to be relying primarily on mules and mules alone. Forces now at 156 for ImperialFist over the 75 of aSMovieMaker. This game is essentially over now. One last engagement here, and ImperialFist is going to be able to walk all over the Terran here, who, despite the valiant effort and the constant attacks and base sniping, looks like he's going to come off the far worse from this. Actually, command center scouting here. It's not every day you see that. ImperialFist though really just needs to finish this up now. Full energy infestors, a large number of Ultralisks, and almost double the supply of his opponent with a huge bank. But still just too scared to engage the Terran here. But it looks like aSMovieMaker is going to attempt to make his own last stand here and push in with this force of Marauders and try and snipe another base of ImperialFist. He's actually going to cluster around this hatchery and try and defend it. But I don't know whether this is a good decision for aSMovieMaker here. This could actually spell the death of his forces. His opponent's going to know he doesn't have much left by now. If he gets off the Fungals on that group, this could be huge here. Yes, it is. The Fungals go down. Those Marauders are going to be taken apart here, leaving aSMovieMaker on only 20 supply. And this is definitely game there. Yep, there goes the GG. And that is game. Such an absolutely long game there, 48 minutes, but some fantastic play from the Terran player aSMovieMaker, being able to put his opponent so much on the back foot that he became so afraid to simply engage that force. Absolutely brilliant play, but ZvT being able to win out in the end, though the number of base sniping that I have seen in that match was brilliant. aSMovieMaker doing such a fantastic job of forcing his opponent to keep pulling back that force over and over again. Simply brilliant. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed that cast of ImperialFist versus aSMovieMaker. Big shout out to both the players. Thank you very much for letting me cast this game. And to the rest of you, I hope you enjoyed this and have a good day.